Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula has now been elected the Speaker of the National Assembly. There has been some controversy. We're joined now by the Parliamentary Spokesperson, Moloto Mothapo, and the political analyst at the University of Northwest, Professor Barry Hanyane. Gentlemen, good afternoon to you both, and thank you for your time. Moloto, I'm going to start with you. It was a complicated election. You had a legal letter challenging the choice beforehand. Several opposition parties were critical of the choice. One party did not arrive for the vote. It all had to be done in line with COVID-19 regulations. That makes it even more difficult for everybody. Are you confident that this outcome was properly legal?
No, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. It was a completely legal and constitutional process that complies with all the rules of the National Assembly as well as the provisions of the Constitution. Of course, Parliament being an institution of the people, that shoulders on its shoulders the aspirations and the desires of the people of South Africa. Various sections of our society will have some opinion on how it should conduct its business. And of course, there will be some interest groups like the ones that we have seen submitting a letter to the acting Speaker of the National Assembly. But unfortunately, as we have said, there is no legal or constitutional basis for the demands that they are making. We are confident that everything has been done in accordance with the rule of law as well as the provisions of the Constitution. Of course, political parties, as we have seen with the previous elections of the Speaker of the National Assembly, they have got their right not to participate or to participate. But we have had about 66.8% of the membership of the National Assembly casting their ballot today. And that was everything went well.
Do you believe then that what happened today will withstand any legal challenge? I wouldn't normally ask this, but the New Nation movement has already said that their letter yesterday was, the beginning of a process that could lead to a legal challenge to the election, specifically of Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula as Speaker.
Well, they themselves do not even sound convincing. From what I have heard, they do not yet have the constitutional or legal basis or grounds to challenge a proceeding that transpired today. So they are still going to perhaps meet with their lawyers so that they can be advised. Even in their letter that we studied yesterday, there is absolutely not even a single constitutional or legal ground that they are raising that really makes us to take their demands seriously and to act on their demand. It seems like the letter itself seems to be misguided or misdirected because the person that they were asking for him to intervene did not even have such powers to do so. So perhaps we will get once they have put their thought together as to what is it that they are demanding and what they are challenging, we can begin to really look at the substance of their demands.
Professor Barry Hanyane, we know some of the opposition parties were unhappy with the choice of Mapisa-Nqakula as Speaker for the National Assembly. Do you think the ANC caucus in the National Assembly is 100% behind her?
Stephen, good afternoon. Good afternoon to your viewers, Mr. Mothapo. We'll have to wait and see about that. It's very difficult to measure this. Remember, caucus, in a sense, does suppress the chance for individual consciousness to take precedence, especially when it comes to issues of preference and issues of making choices. But at the same time, we understand we're talking about a political party that seemed to be somewhat hell-bent on pushing a common position when it comes to issues of caucus decisions.
Is she going to have a tough time as Speaker? There are one or two scandals, I will use that word. I mean, there's the issue that seems to come back again and again of her involvement in a military plane being used to transport a foreign national into South Africa. At the same time, there are issues around what happened when she was the Defence Minister, claims that are being made about her there. Do you think that she's actually going to have quite a rough time in this position? People will use that against her, whether what happened, what is claimed is true or not?
Oh, knives are out already, Stephen, especially from the opposition benches. I'd like to believe the absence of the EFF, in a sense, sends a strong signal that they are not necessarily appreciative of her role now from the beginning. And who knows when we're in full swing and when Parliament actually seeks to conduct its business, not necessarily under normal, but given the circumstances we find ourselves, they might want to test waters and bring in all sorts of issues. But we now know that the DA is unhappy, and who knows what might happen. And let's not forget the Standing Committee's intention as well to pursue some kind of investigation. So for the new Speaker, I suspect she has a tall order to deal with, especially when it comes to settling in. And of course, there's the other aspect of her ability to actually rise to the occasion and make sure that she promotes a balanced decorum of Parliament.
Moloto Mothapo, it's important for all of us that Parliament works, and I mean, if COVID-19 proves anything, it proves that. We need society to be able to talk to itself through Parliament and play a constructive role. Do you think the National Assembly is going to be able to do that now?
No, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. In her acceptance or inaugural speech this afternoon, the new Speaker did emphasize that she will ensure that the rules of the House are applied impartially and without fear of favor, and will treat all the members of Parliament and political parties with respect, courteousness and fairness, and will ensure that the House inspires the confidence of the people of South Africa in a manner that it discharges its business. So she's very much alive to the criticism that Parliament suffered at the State Capture Commission, and she has vowed to ensure that the institution strictly fulfills its constitutional functions. And she said, as she said, that it must serve as the last line of defense of our constitutional democracy.
Professor Barry Hanyane, I mean, all of this boils down to where most people see Parliament is not the day-to-day stuff. They see it in the State of the Nation address. And we've seen disruptions, the economic freedom fighters, all the rest. Do you think that's just going to keep happening? I mean, is there any way to calm Parliament down? And we saw Thandi Modise to an extent being able to do that. The Speaker plays a crucial role.
No, it won't stop, Stephen. I think officially we might as well appreciate the fact that Parliament has become a contested terrain to advance political ideologies, to advance particular political agendas, whether it's on a partisan basis or bipartisan, which, by the way, we seem to be lacking to observe such possibilities and, of course, benefiting from it. The Speaker must navigate those treacherous paths and make sure that some kind of decorum and balance is achieved. And it's not going to be an easy task at all. She will need the support of her right-hand man. She will need the support, obviously, of parliamentary staff. And then, of course, that elusive political consensus amongst political actors themselves in Parliament. Some agree with her candidacy, some don't. Already, knives are drawn.
Professor Barry Hanyane, thank you very much indeed. Professor of Politics at Northwest University. Moloto Mothapo, spokesperson for Parliament. Do appreciate the time this afternoon.